Before the Bradys, before the blended family sitcoms took over television, My Three Sons quietly became one of America's most familiar living rooms. From Fred MacMurray's calm, fatherly presence to the child stars who grew up before millions of viewers, this long-running classic captured a changing nation with warmth, humor, and heartbreak just beneath the surface. But 66 years after its debut, where did the cast go when the cameras stopped rolling? Some found lasting success, some stepped away from fame, and others left behind stories far more emotional than fans ever imagined. Fred MacMurray played Steve Douglas and, in a second family echo, Fergus Douglas on My Three Sons. He made calm authority feel warm, making Steve the steady center of a noisy, changing home. Born August 30th, 1908, in Kankakee, Illinois, he grew up in Wisconsin, played saxophone in dance bands, and moved from music into stage and film work. He was 52 when the series premiered in 1960. For a major movie star known for Double Indemnity and Disney comedies, weekly television carried risk, but it gave him a new kind of public trust. The role also let him protect a quieter working rhythm, while turning fatherhood into his final signature. Behind that gentle image stood a career of more than 100 films, years of shrewd real estate and ranch investments, and a private final stretch marked by cancer, a severe stroke, and retreat from the industry he had helped define. He died of pneumonia after a long battle with cancer on November 5, 1991, at age 83. Stanley Livingston played Chip Douglas on My Three Sons. Chip was the mischievous younger son, small in size but central to the show's feeling of boyhood. Born November 24, 1950, in Los Angeles, California, Stanley Bernard Livingston entered Hollywood as a child actor before the sitcom made him familiar. He was 10 when he began the series in 1960. The role placed his childhood under studio lights, asking him to grow up in public while keeping Chip sweet and believable. It also gave him rare continuity because he and Fred MacMurray remained through the full run. That exposure became both gift and burden. It fixed him forever in viewers' memory as Chip, yet opened a lifetime in entertainment beyond childhood fame. After the show, he continued acting and later worked as a producer, director, and editor, building a quieter second career behind the camera. With several original co-stars now gone, he stands as the last surviving original main cast member, living in 2026 at age 75. Don Grady played Robbie Douglas on My Three Sons. Robbie brought music, charm, and teenage restlessness into the Douglas home, making him the son who seemed to grow up fastest. Born June 8, 1944, in San Diego, California, as Don Luis Agradi, he came to television early as a singer and dancer on the Mickey Mouse Club. He was 16 when he began the series in 1960. The role arrived as he moved from child performer into young adulthood, a difficult passage made public each week. It gave him a lasting identity, but pushed him to prove he was more than a sitcom son. That proof came through music. He played with the Yellow Balloon, released solo work, composed for film and television, and wrote music for the Phil Donahue Show and Las Vegas production EFX. He also spoke of Fred MacMurray and the show's producers as father figures during a vulnerable period, giving the series a deeper, private meaning. He died of myeloma on June 27, 2012, at age 68. Barry Livingston played Ernie Thompson Douglas, first as Ernie Thompson on My Three Sons. With glasses, bright nerves, and a vulnerable comic spark, Ernie made the family feel wider and more real. Born December 17, 1953, in Los Angeles, California, Barry Gordon Livingston was Stanley Livingston's younger brother, and entered acting as a child. He was 10 when he joined the series in 1963. The role turned what Hollywood once saw as a problem into a signature, because his glasses became part of Ernie's appeal. It helped him survive child stardom by giving him a character built on difference, not polish. His later story carried quiet vindication. After being dropped from an early film job when he needed glasses, he built a long career across stage, television, and film. He made a Broadway debut, played Linus in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, wrote a memoir, and kept working in Zodiac, The Social Network, Argo, Mad Men, and Bosch. He is living in 2026 at age 72, turning 73 on December 17th. William Demarest played Uncle Charlie O'Casey on My Three Sons. Charlie was gruff, loyal, and funny in a weathered way, giving the Douglas home a tougher but tender second heartbeat. Born February 27, 1892, in St. Paul, Minnesota, Carl William Demarest grew up partly in New Jersey, served in World War I, and spent years in vaudeville before films. He was 73 when he joined the series in 1965. Coming in after William Frawley left, Demarest faced the pressure of replacing a beloved presence without breaking the family rhythm. He met that challenge by turning crustiness into comfort, making Charlie feel less like a substitute than a man who belonged. His closing chapters carried the weight of a long Hollywood road. He had appeared with Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer, worked memorably in Preston Sturges comedies, and earned an Academy Award nomination for The Jolson Story. After more than 140 films and late-life television fame with a new generation, he died on December 28, 1983, at age 91. Tim Considine played Mike Douglas on My Three Sons. Mike was the oldest son, the responsible one, carrying the quiet gravity of a boy already standing near manhood. Born December 31, 1940, in Los Angeles, California, he came from a film family and was already known to Disney audiences through the adventures of Spin and Marty. He was 20 when the series began in 1960. The role placed him at the center of a new television family, but it also arrived as he was pushing beyond the limits of child and teen stardom. Leaving the show after the 1964 to 1965 season marked a difficult break, yet it showed his need for a life larger than one role. In the years that followed, Considine appeared in Patton, became a writer, photographer, and automotive historian, and kept a thoughtful distance from the image that made him famous. His later life carried the shape of a man who survived early fame by building quieter skills outside it. He died on March 3, 2022, at age 81. William Frawley played Michael Francis "Bub" O'Casey, known simply as Bub, on My Three Sons. Bub was gruff, funny, and human, the old hand who gave the Douglas boys a rougher kind of tenderness. Born February 26, 1887, in Burlington, Iowa, he grew out of church choirs, local theater, and vaudeville before becoming one of television's great character actors. He was 73 when the series began in 1960. Taking the role after I Love Lucy gave him a second television life, but it came when the work was physically harder and the pace less forgiving. His presence made the early seasons feel lived in, as if the house had a past before the camera arrived. Frawley's career stretched from vaudeville and Broadway to Miracle on 34th Street and the immortal Fred Mertz. Yet poor health eventually forced him off My Three Sons before the family story was done. He remained beloved by colleagues who understood how much history he carried in every line. He died of a heart attack on March 3, 1966, at age 79. Tina Cole played Katie Miller Douglas, first Katie Miller, on My Three Sons. Katie brought grace, warmth, and adulthood into the Douglas family, turning Robbie's romance into a new branch of the story. Born August 4, 1943, in Hollywood, California, Christina Yvonne Cole was the daughter of musician Buddy Cole and singer Yvonne King of the King Sisters. She was 21 when she first appeared on the series in 1964. Before becoming Katie, she moved through guest parts on the show, learning its rhythm from the edges before entering its heart. When Katie became Robbie's wife, the role changed her from a familiar young performer into part of a beloved television household. Her later path remained tied to performance but widened beyond it. She sang with the four King cousins, worked in theater and coaching, and later returned to the screen. In 2022, she released her memoir, My Three Lives, preserving family music, television fame, and survival through change. She is living in 2026 at age 82. Beverly Garland played Barbara Harper Douglas, first Barbara Harper, on My Three Sons. Barbara entered gently, giving Steve Douglas a second chance at love and the series' new warmth. Born October 17, 1926, in Santa Cruz, California, Beverly Lucy Fessenden studied drama and built her career through stage work before film and television. She was 43 when she joined the show in 1969. Coming into a long-running series so late carried pressure, because audiences had already accepted the Douglas home as complete. Garland made Barbara feel necessary, not decorative, bringing maturity, steadiness, and a widowed mother's quiet strength. Her life was marked by range and resilience. She had led the groundbreaking police drama Decoy, became a cult favorite in 1950s genre films, and later found new audiences through Scarecrow and Mrs. King and Seventh Heaven. Off-screen, she was associated with the North Hollywood hotel that bore her name. She died after a long illness on December 5, 2008, at age 82. Dawn Lynn played Dodie Harper Douglas, first Dodie Harper, on My Three Sons. Dodie was small, bright, and disarming, the child whose arrival made the Douglas family feel new again. Born January 11, 1963, in Los Angeles, California, Dawn Lynn Nervick was the younger sister of actor and singer Leif Garrett and began acting as a child. She was 6 when she joined the series in 1969. Entering an established classic at that age meant carrying charm without seeming forced, a hard task for any child performer. The role gave her a recognizable late-series childhood face, even as her acting career would end before adulthood. Later, Lynn stepped away from Hollywood, but public attention returned during a painful health battle that began in 2022, after surgery for a non-malignant brain tumor and bacterial meningitis. Reports later described her recovery and a rare public appearance, turning her story into one of survival rather than nostalgia alone. She is living in 2026 at age 63. Meredith McCrae played Sally Ann Morrison and Sally Ann Morrison Douglas on My Three Sons. Sally was bright, poised, and romantic, the young woman who briefly gave Mike Douglas a future beyond the family house. Born May 30th, 1944, in Houston, Texas, she was the daughter of actors Gordon and Sheila McCrae and grew up close to show business. She was 19 when she joined the series in 1963. The role arrived while she was still defining herself apart from a famous family name, and it asked her to carry sweetness without losing maturity. It also gave her a breakthrough television identity before she moved on to Petticoat Junction as Billy Joe Bradley. Her later life held both reinvention and pain. She became a singer and talk show host, then faced a devastating brain cancer diagnosis after months of troubling symptoms and intense treatment. She died from complications of brain cancer on July 14, 2000, at age 56. John Howard played Dave Welch and Buddy Albert on My Three Sons. His appearances carried the quiet authority of an older studio-era actor stepping into changing television. Born April 14, 1913, in Cleveland, Ohio, John Richard Cox Jr. was a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Western Reserve University before Paramount gave him his screen name. He was 51 when he began appearing on the series in 1964. By then, Howard was no longer the young leading man of the 1930s, and television offered a different kind of survival. The guest roles kept him visible while showing how gracefully old Hollywood faces could adapt. His larger story was marked by courage and durability. He starred in Lost Horizon, The Philadelphia Story, and the Bulldog Drummond films, then served in the U.S. Navy during World War II and received the Navy Cross. He later earned a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, a public trace of a career that never vanished. He died of heart failure on February 19, 1995, at age 81. John Gallaudet played Bob Anderson and Mr. Pfeiffer on My Three Sons. He gave the show a practical, familiar presence, the kind of office face that made sitcom life feel lived in. Born August 23, 1903, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, John Bury Gallaudet attended Williams College and began on the Broadway stage. He was 57 when his first My Three Sons work aired in 1960. The role came late in a long character actor journey, when brief appearances had to be sharp enough to register quickly. Gallaudet brought that economy from years of stage and studio work, turning small parts into steady texture. His later life reflected a craftsman's quiet endurance. He had been signed by Columbia Pictures in the 1930s, appeared in dozens of films, and remained active across television while moving through credits such as Side Street and In Cold Blood. He did not leave behind the fame of a leading man, but he left the evidence of a working actor who endured. He died on November 5, 1983, at age 80. Olive Dunbar played Ruth Pfeiffer on My Three Sons. Ruth was a calm neighborhood mother, a small role that helped frame Chip's childhood world beyond the Douglas living room. Born March 30th, 1925, in Wellesley Hills, Massachusetts, Olive Joanne Dunbar was the daughter of Harry C. Dunbar and Geneva Teague Dunbar, and chose acting early. She was 36 when she joined the series in 1961. The part placed her among the adults surrounding a child-centered sitcom, where a gentle presence mattered more than big display. It also gave her recurring television visibility during a period when character actresses often built careers one modest role at a time. Dunbar's later work carried quiet range. She appeared in the famous short film The Lottery, worked across series television, and became remembered by viewers who saw her in family drama and offbeat screen pieces. Her private life included marriage to actor William Keane until his death in 1992. She died on February 8, 2017, at age 91. Joan Vose played Jan Deering and Miss Terry on My Three Sons. Her poised screen presence brought polish and warmth to recurring roles moving through the Douglas family orbit. Born July 30th, 1927, in St. Albans, Queens, New York City, Eleanor Joan Vose danced with the Rockettes, worked with Agnes DeMille, and became a Conover model before acting. She was 37 when she began appearing on the series in 1964. By then, she had lived through the transition from studio glamour to guest star television, a shift that demanded flexibility more than fame. The series allowed her to remain part of the family programming era after years of film work. Her later story is one of bright promise, followed by quiet withdrawal. She appeared in Sabrina, Crazy Legs, Fort T, and Perry Mason, then stepped away from screen acting near the end of the 1960s. Her image stayed fixed in reruns, a reminder of how many familiar faces built television's softer world. She died of heart failure on June 4, 2001, at age 73. After 12 seasons, My Three Sons left behind more than a picture of a gentle American household. Fred MacMurray, William Frawley, William Demarest, Don Grady, Tim Considine, Meredith McCrae, and Beverly Garland are gone, while Stanley and Barry Livingston carried pieces of that childhood image into later lives and work. Fame gave them warmth, but time took its due in illness, reinvention, and loss. Which face from the Douglas home stayed with you longest? In the end, the house is quiet, but its ghosts still answer.